Okay, so you've mastered the Destruction and Restoration Schools of Magic. You can summon powerful Daedric creatures and fully control them. And the last job you had was as a waitress at the Sweet Roll Factory. Your resume does look quite impressive, but I've got to be honest here. This isn't an audition for Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This is a position to be my sidekick, to be the Dragonborn's second in command on our journey to defeat Alduin. We'll be fighting bears, Draugr, cutthroat bandits, more bears, and vicious, fire-breathing dragons. Why do you think you're an ideal candidate?
Ain't nothing a boy can do that I can't do better.
I like your spirit, kid. You know what? I'll take a chance on you. You're hired. You'll start tomorrow.
Finally. I got stuff to do, you know.
Not the response I was expecting, but I'm glad that you're on board. How's about a high five to seal the deal?
Keep your hands to yourself.
Okay, no high fives. I'm gonna regret this, aren't I? Heyo, how's it going, internet? My name is Efrain. I like playing Skyrim on the Xbox with mods and then telling you all about those mods in a video. Now, I have been really busy, so I've had to put videos on the back burners. And with what, you might ask? Well, as some of you may know, it is not easy being a pimp. Do you know what I am saying? Now, when I first downloaded this mod, I didn't think I could make a whole video around it. Initially, what I thought was like, oh, this mod adds a couple of NPCs that you can recruit as followers and have them be teenage waifus. Whoop-de-fucking-do. But the more I looked into it, and the more I played with this mod on, and then eventually spent countless hours of playtesting this mod, I really came around to appreciating it for 3 reasons. Number 1, for the most part, this mod is actually very well done. You can obviously tell a lot of time and effort went into making it. Number 2 is that each follower is different in ability and appearance, so it really adds a whole lot of variety into the game of Skyrim. And the third reason is, I'm honestly kind of surprised I'm even saying this, is that I kind of like the way it impacts the game world. This mod populates Skyrim with a whole bunch of very colorful, interesting, and funny NPCs that contrast the regular NPCs and makes it much more lighthearted. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I think this preface has gone long enough, so let's get right into things. This is the Sassy Teen Girls Mod in Skyrim for the Xbox One by TripTheRift. Alright, let's get right down to business. This mod adds a total of 19 different NPCs that you can recruit as a companion. All the girls have the same voice line and voice pattern, but they all differ in appearance. They're all found in various parts of Skyrim, and I'm about to show you where each girl is located and what they generally look like, as well as what they bring to a fight. Alright, so first up is Mina, found in the College of Winterhold, in the Hall of Attainment with all the other student mages. She herself is a mage, as you can tell by the black wizard robes.
Take a look.
In her inventory, she carries around an ebony dagger, a hunting bow, some food, and a staff of chain lightning, which infuriates me because instead of using that, she opts around to use very basic destruction spells like sparks, firebolt, ice spike, and lightning bolt. She can also heal herself and the player when she's in combat. At much higher levels, she's able to summon Dremora Lords, and I'm pretty sure she's only able to summon them at very later levels of the game, considering that I was unable to replicate that with a lower level character. She's very, very good to have around in a high level dungeon.
Hi there.
Next up is Missy, who is gangster as fuck, because she's just chilling in the Candlehearth Hall in Windhelm, not giving a damn about the Nord's anti-foreigner policy and culture. She's a Khajiit warrior, having steel everything. Steel shield, steel armor, and a steel sword, which is cool, I guess, but she surprised me by having some mage properties. As you saw there, she was able to heal herself up and the player when her health was low in a fight. What's really cool about her is that she can summon saber cats. I guess the mod maker was feeling like Exhibit and decided to put some cats with some more cats. With the help of her saber cat, she's easily able to defeat foes. That was a snow bear, pretty tough enemy, nothing to shake a stick at. I will say her conjuration game is weak though, because for some reason after some time the saber cat will attack the player, causing you to frantically scramble out of the free cam menu in order to put the beast down. Alright, well that was ugly. This is Callie. She's found in the basement of the Winking Skeever in Solitude. She is also a mage, but she wears Dunmer clothing instead of regular black mage robes or mage attire. She has a steel dagger, a hunting bow, and some gold. Nothing too spectacular there. In a fight, she shoots lightning bolts, can heal herself, has an oak flesh, and a ward. She can also summon frost atronachs and on occasion a flame atronach and storm atronach, although I haven't seen that really. She mostly just summons ice atronachs. Not a whole lot else to say. She's alright for mid-level enemies and mid-level dungeons. So let's just go ahead and move on. If you join the companions, you're going to see a new face around. Vera, who is found in the basement of Jorvaskr in Whiterun. She's a warrior having a steel sword, hunting bow, and steel armor. Apart from being a little bandit killing badass, she also has a hidden ability that, quite frankly, was pretty damn surprising. More surprising than when I discover I have a snake in my boot. Occasionally she will use the dragon shout Call of Valor, which will summon Harkin One-Eyed, an ancient Nord warrior that you get at the end of the game after you defeat Alduin, to fight alongside her. And Harkin himself is pretty impressive and powerful, having a variety of useful dragon shouts to use at his disposal. As you saw there, he was able to use the dragon shout to disarm an opponent, and in a moment you'll see a very familiar dragon shout, the almighty. Now these are pretty lower level enemies, and I have tested it, and I can assure you that these two are a deadly combination, easily capable of taking on medium to high level enemies. Next up is Mickey, who is the unintentional poster child of this mod and the Sorcerer's Apprentice. She's found in the Court Wizard Room of Dragon's Reach in Whiterun, and to be quite frank, she is a Mina clone, or Mina is a clone of her, depending on who you find first. She has an ebony dagger, black mage robes, and a fucking staff of chain lightning that she also doesn't use. She instead opts to run around using basic level destruction spells, a ward, healing, and oak flesh. At higher levels of the game, or at higher levels in general, she's able to summon Dremora Lords, who are pretty damn formidable. What more can I say about her that I already haven't said about Mina? They're basically interchangeable, and it ultimately comes down to which hairstyle you like on your follower more. Well, that's it. Let's move on, I suppose. Alright, we're gonna head up north to find our next NPC, who is in the Windpeak Inn of Dawnstar. This is Tessa, and she may look somewhat familiar because she's a Vera clone, except a discount Vera clone, because if you look up in the dictionary where it says basic bitch, you'll find Tessa. She doesn't have any kind of unique abilities or powers, instead she just is a warrior, plain and simple. She has a hunting bow, steel armor, steel shield, and a steel sword. And to be quite frank, she's possibly the worst follower in this entire mod pack. Simple design, simple combat, just simple everything. It's absolutely terrible, so I've opted to equip her with some heavy Falmer armor so she can be a little bit more formidable. Thank God this mod allows you to actually customize your NPC followers, because my god, Tessa just does not cut it. You can go ahead and equip her with whatever kind of armor and weapons, and she could easily take on a lot of opponents. Just don't expect her to fucking Fusrada anybody anytime soon.
I hate it here.
Our next set of NPCs are all found in the Reach, and we're going to start by talking about Sayin, who's found in the Understone Keep in the city of Markarth. Without a doubt, one of the most uniquely designed NPC followers I've ever seen in a Skyrim mod. As you can tell, she has the body of a dwarven automaton and the face and head of a human, a dwarven cyborg. She also packed quite a punch, as by default, she can shoot lightning bolts, wall of storms, which she frequently uses, and on occasion, chain lightning. Arguably the strongest NPC follower in this entire mod, and without question, the coolest design. I'd argue to say that she alone can be a standalone mod, simply due to her character concept alone. From Markarth, we'll make our way over to the small town of Karthwasten, And all we have to do is head all the way northwest to the Fen Gulch mine, which is at the top of the town. Head on inside, go across this rickety ass bridge and turn right to find our next NPC, Shauna, the young Forsworn warrior. She's decked out in full Forsworn armor and has a unique hairstyle that is not included in any of the mods that I have installed, but is unique to the mod pack itself. She has a hunting bow, which she sucks at using, but she excels at very close quarters combat. She's the only NPC follower to use dual swords by default. She doesn't have any means to regain any health, so she has no healing, but she's super capable of taking hits. Here she is giving the business to a couple of ice mages with attacks that are more brutal than the Chicago winter, just powering through them and able to secure a kill before she herself goes down. After playing with her for an extensive amount, she is easily one of my favorites, as it's really just fun to turn around an enemy and then watch this little ball of savagery go to work. We're going to head up to the most northwest portion of Skyrim, a little bit ways away from Markarth, the Deep Vault Crossing, which looks like this. And all you're going to have to do is walk up the steps as casually as I'm doing here, just a casual walk up the steps to meet our next set of NPCs, Jenna and Jala. And that's right, I said set of NPCs because I'm assuming they're sisters, and they function as one unit or one follower. All you have to do is talk to Jenna, the older sister, to have them follow you. And Jenna follows you while Jala, the younger sister, follows Jenna. And in combat, they are unique in that regard in that they only use novice level destruction spells, and their spells are altered by any kind of mods that you have installed. Plus they have a hidden ability to both spew hot green barf at an enemy because they are also afflicted, the same kind of enemies that you fight in that Daedric quest from Periite. I'd argue to say they have the highest DPS as long as they're in range of an enemy. Now there is a very annoying problem with this set of NPC followers, and that's every once in a while they will accidentally attack one another, which will cause them to fight until the end of time. Because they can't kill each other means that they're just going to fight forever. They don't react to your commands while you're fighting, so if you try to talk with one of them to try to break it up, they're just going to have no part of it. When one of them goes down, the other one will turn passive, but the one that goes down is going to get right back up and continue the fight. If you try to fast travel, you're typically going to lose Jala, the younger sister, and then you still have Jenna, and you can go about the game that way. But I mean, like, what the hell's the point when they only function really well as a set or as a pair? The only solution I found was to reload a save game. Now these followers don't work perfectly all the time, but when they do work, it's really satisfying.
I hope there aren't any more.
We're going to move south now to Valkyrie to meet Kara, who is found in the Dead Man's Drink Inn. To my surprise, she has quite the inventory. 500 ebony arrows, an ebony bow, and an ebony dagger. And she has all this by default. I really didn't believe it, so I switched from my level 40 character over to my level 10 character, and yes, she's still in Dead Man's Drink, and she still has these pretty damn powerful items. She can also summon familiars, which, you know, they're familiars, so don't get your hopes up, they're nothing spectacular. But she does really well with her bow and arrow, no surprise there. However, she does use her hunting bow by default, so a good way to get her to use the ebony bow is just to go into her inventory, take her hunting bow and smash it over your knee right in front of her, and that forces her to kind of use her ebony bow. Even without her ebony bow, she does a pretty good amount of damage and can be a pretty good companion if you're choosing to run the route of an archer. You can also pick up her arrows to replenish her stock, and then also provide her with any other items, including more powerful arrows if you ever come across them, but for right now, the ebony arrows work like a charm.
I'm just a poor old woman, dear.
Right outside of Riverwood, there's a small shack inhabited by an old lady with a dark secret. Just come over here, unlock the root cellar with a novice lockpicking skill, and here we'll find Hedge, the next NPC follower. And I was incredibly surprised to find out that Hedge was a small hagraven. As a matter of fact, I was in part amused and part shocked because I just wasn't expecting it. But it does make sense, as I'll show in a bit, because Hedge actually has a bit of lore behind her. Her abilities are pretty straightforward. If you've observed the hagraven abilities, then you know exactly what Hedge is capable of. Nothing in her inventory apart from a hunting bow, which all the NPC followers get by default in this mod. But Hedge has the ability to shoot fireballs from afar, heal, and then ice spikes. She also has a very pitiful melee attack that is just capable enough to wipe out an old lady. Anyway, here's the note in Anis's cellar. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you read it, but from what I can tell, Helgi is a person that Anis is trying to persuade to come join their witches coven, and Hedge was unfortunate to have been transformed into a hag raven from Anis's rituals. It's pretty cool the way the mod maker incorporated their mod with base game Skyrim lore. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here because I've covered a whole lot about this mod up to this point, and I don't want this video to be way too long. I still have a whole lot more to talk about and a whole lot more to show, and I don't want to bombard you with information for the next 20 minutes. Plus, I think a break from me is in order at this point. So tune in for part 2 where I finish off showing the remaining NPCs. I talk about some of the details of this mod, and then I finally give you my overall opinion. I'll see you in the next part, but until then, my name is Efrain. Adios.